Masechet Sanhedrin Daf Rima, continuing from Bet Amud Bet, 17 lines down. The last thing we mentioned was that our Mishnah excluded loan cases they don't need. They're not part of our Mishnah. The Gemara says, well, what exactly are we excluding from our Mishnah regarding loans? If you want to say they're excluding, they don't need three judges. Rabbi Abba says, if two judges made a court case by themselves, the divrei hakol en din. He holds that doesn't count. You have to go to regular din of three. Maybe the Mishnah is teaching you, right? We must be any three judges. Maybe they don't have to be official judges. They could be regular guys. My kasavar. Why would you think that? Kasavar eru parshiot katuv kan. If he holds that you want to say that the mixture of the pisukim over there, right? The pisukim over there is mixing two different cases, two different sugyot, two different topics. We mix the concept of moded mixad of a guy admitting that he owes half a loan, and he mixed as well to the case of a shomer shechinam, a guy who's watching something for free. So we are basically saying that because those two halachot were mixed together in the Torah, maybe the halachot should be mixed as well. Meaning, since in the case of a we're going to apply the custodian halachot to the applying of loans as well. To teach you what? Shoshalamali. You shouldn't need three at all, right? So if we're going to apply that halacha, then you forget about non-experts, forget about using regular people instead of judges, regular judges. Why do you need three judges in the first place? The Gemara says, okay, really, there is a mixture. And really, you should need regular judges. The so how come we don't require regular judges for loans? Mishum de Rabbi like Rabbi Hanina, he holds that midoraita from the Torah, you need for money cases and for mita cases, capital cases, you need to question and investigate the witnesses, interrogate them. Shneimar says, "Mishpat echad yalachem." You should have one law, one way you handle cases. So, so how come we don't do these heavy investigations by money cases? Because we don't want to cause it to be hard for borrowers to borrow money. Meaning, if a lender has to go through so much red tape in order to lend money, he's not going to want to lend, and therefore we're going to stop. Therefore we make it simpler so that it's easier for people to borrow money. That's why we don't need major bedin. You don't need full judges. You can use regular guys. We know later on that it says that if regular people made a betin and they made a halakha and made a mistake, they have to pay. But if we're saying that over here, hachamim allow it, so what they should be patur. Like regular judges, if regular judges make a mistake, they're patur. Rashi says no. If we say that non-professional judges, if regular people become judges and they make a mistake and they patur, then no one's want to lend money because who says the guy's not going to make a mistake on the deen? Okay. Yeah, it's the case that you need three judges, three regular people. Tartik Tani, the Rabbi Avau, who explained our Mishnah earlier, could have said that there's two different cases going on. The Mishnah should have said that the first case of Mishnah, when you say monetary cases, b'shosha hedyotot. Then you need three regular, you could use three people, you don't need regular judges. However, injuries and theft, you need three full professional judges. Additionally, shosha namali. Rabbi said that it means the same thing, that three, Mishnah said, the Havidot Bishlosha. Why did it say three twice if it's still about the same case? Doesn't make sense. Monetary cases are three, theft and injuries are three. You should have said monetary cases that have theft and injury are three. You should have said it one way. Why are you saying two sentences and saying three twice? Ela Maravarabasa re-explain it. The Mishnah is saying two separate cases. Mishum de Rabbi because of Rabbi Hanina, who said that you technically do need betin, full betin, but Chachamim allow you to get regular people for so you for loans. Okay. The Raha braided of Ika Amar Raha says Midraita Hadna Mikasher. Really, according to the Raita, you only need one judge for a loan case. Shemar Pasuk says Besedek Tishpot Amitecha. Pasuk says with justice you shall judge your friend, and it uses a singular word. The word is Tishpot, which is a singular person, which is one person. So technically you could do one. Ela Mishum Yishvek, but we're worried that if you choose one guy who's you're allowed to prove non-professional. So what if you choose a random guy who's sitting on the corner who doesn't know halachot? We're afraid that you'll have mistakes, and therefore we want three judges. The Gemara says, "Atu b'tlata milah havia shulchanot." So if you get three, also, who says you're not going to get three bums as well? The Gemara says, "Yav shad let bo hadam." No, you're going to find one guy who's tamid hacham at least. The Gemara says, "Okay, so that's the case that you're allowed to have these non-judges again." We're asking the same questions before. They should be patur if they make a mistake. The Gemara says, "No, kosher din if she not. If you're allowing non-professionals sitting on the corner, bums, to make cases in the bipatur, then anybody will be hired as a judge if there's no repercussions, and therefore we want to avoid that, and therefore we'll make them chayav so they don't jump at doing that. Now the problem is Ma'ika bin Raval Ravaha bad Ravika. Ravan Ravaha basically just said the same thing. They both held that the three cases. There's two cases in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says three for money, which means three professionals for money, professional judges for injuries and theft. And if you want to do loan, you don't need professionals. So what's the difference? The Gemara says Ikvena Da'ama Shmuel. The difference is the halacha of Shmuel. Shanaim Shitanudin Din. If two judges went ahead and made a court case, or against Rabbi Hanina earlier, Din Din, it does go through. But the Avad. However, Betin Hasuf, they're just called chutzpah people that they made a din by themselves. Rava, according to Rava, who says that you need three judges, miduraita. It let the Shmuel, he doesn't hold that. No, that wouldn't work. Two people would not work. However, the Rav Ahad, Rav Ika, it let the Shmuel. Rav Ahad would hold that only one judge is required. You don't need three. Then he would agree with Shmuel that if two people did it, it would work. We just don't like it. Okay. Next part of Mishnah said nezek v'hatzi nezek. The cases of full damages and half damages and need three judges. The Gemara says nezek hanu havlot. Why do we need it? We had our first case of the Mishnah said damages, injuries, which is already nezek and hatzi nezek. So why do you have to bring it again? The Gemara says the Mishnah wanted to make a hidush of half damages, like we said, a case of a tam, animal goring for the first time pays half. Therefore, the Mishnah also mentioned full damages as well. It just threw it in there. The Gemara says, okay, hatzi nezek nani havlot. Half damages is also injuries. Why do I have to mention that? It should be part of the first part of the Mishnah, of the main category of damages. Where it says, no, we want to mention the first case of injuries, like from person to person. And over here, we're mentioning the half damages, which is talking about a penalty. Now the Gemara says, okay, that makes sense according to the opinion who holds that if you're paying half damages, it's a penalty, right? Because what's the penalty? Really, you should be batur according to this opinion. Why are you charging half as a penalty that you didn't watch your animal? But according to the opinion that holds that half damages is the payment that you deserve, is the payment that's supposed to be coming to you. You should have been chayav full, but we say, you know what, pay half because it wasn't expected. Then that should, if that's a case of regular money, then it should be technically part of the first case of chavalot, of bodily injuries. The Gemara says, okay, the Mishnah wanted to say the next case of double payment and 4 times payment and 5 times payment. The next case is the Mishnah. That is talking about money that you're paying. That's not paid according to the principal amount of money you paid. You're paying 200, 400, 500%. Therefore, therefore, we must mention the case of half damages, which you're also not paying full price. You're paying half. Once mentioned half damages, we threw in as well. We mentioned full damages as well. Okay. How do you know they need 3 judges? Then Rabbanan Breta says, "V'nikrav ba'al habayit el ha'elokim." Pasuk says, "You shall bring the people shall approach the judge." Hare kan ehad. Over here, the word Elohim means judge. Therefore, we have one case, one judge. Ad halim yevavod var shneim. You shall bring the matter for a judge. Hare kan shnaim. Now we know 2 judges. Asher yarshi'un Elohim, and the judge shall decide or condemn. That's the Hare kan shlosha. Now we know we have 3 judges. Deve Rabbi Yoshia. That's according to Rabbi Yoshia. Rabbi Jonathan says a different explanation. Rishon Tichla Nemar. The first time it's judge, it has to be talking about the topic that we're talking about. You can't, the only time you're able to learn a pasuk, a word from a pasuk, is if it's not necessary. But if it is necessary to teach you to talk, what topic are we talking about? We're talking about judges. You have to mention the word judge. And therefore, the first mention of judge is just telling you what we're describing. Therefore, we can't expound on that to teach you a halacha that you need 3 judges. And therefore, we only have 2. So where we know that you need 3. Ad ha-Elohim yavod v'ashneim is Harekan Echad, that pasuk is 1. Asher Yashun Elohim, the second pasuk is 2. Harekan Shnaim, that's 2. En betin shakul, now you can't have 2 judges, you have an odd number. Mosim you have to add a third one. Harekan Shlosha, therefore you have 3. Now the Gemara says the name of the Shin Kamifiki is there machloket based off whether or not we are doresh the beginning of a topic That we see the machloket elsewhere. Can you learn out from the first time mentioned something or not? Like we just said earlier. Gemara says, seemingly the more savar doshin techlot. Rishya held that you can learn it. That's how he learned the three from the first three pesukim. Or more savar en doshin techlot. And Rabbi who did not learn it the first time, seemingly you can't learn it from the first time mentioned in the pasuk. Gemara said, no. The kula alma en doshin techlot really, if I held you can't. Amar lach Rabbi Yoshia, so how did Rabbi Yoshia learn it the first time? Im can, he says, why did I learn from Elohim that it means a judge the first time? Because nemakra v'nikra ba'alabait el shofet. It could have said shofet as a judge. My el Elohim, what does it mean to teach you? Why to say Elohim the first time? Shema mina l'minyana, therefore it must be teaching me that Elohim is referring to a judge and it's meant to count it 3 times. Rabbi Yonatan answered that. He doesn't like that. Why? He says, no, that's just the way people talk, and therefore you can't learn it from there. Okay. Rabbi Yoshia seemingly holds that you don't need an uneven court because he learned it that you had 3 words in the pasuk, 3 judges. Rabbi Yonatan said, I have 2, and therefore I can't have it even, and therefore I add a 3rd. But otherwise, Rabbi Yoshia would not need an uneven bedin. You could have it equal. But Rabbi says, Rabbi Yosef bin Yosef li'olef. What does the pasuk mean? You have to go after the majority. You have to make an uneven bedin, an odd number, so that you can have majority. Now, no, wait, 1 second. So we see from there, rather, that you see that you need an odd number. So why, seemingly Rabbi Yoshia holds that you don't. Well, how is that possible? The Gemara says, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar Shivim, that he holds 70. We see our Mishnah, the time our Mishnah said, Sanhedrin Daf, Rabbi Yehuda Meir Shivim. Our Mishnah said that Rabbi Yehuda held that the main bedin was 70, and he argued against Tanna Kama who had 71. So Rabbi Yoshia would hold with that. The Amar says, maybe Rabbi Yehuda only holds that, only by the big Sanhedrin, because that's how he learned the pasuk to teach you 70. Maybe only there, it's the only exception. But maybe Rabbi Yehuda would agree that in smaller bedins numbers, it would be required odd number. Mar says, maybe you say he would not say that, and it really does not make a difference. But now Mishnah says clearly, when the elders, the bedin is bringing a korban because they made a mistake, and the egla arufa, you need 3 judges. Divrei Bishmon. Bida Merida says, "Hamisha, you need 5." Mamrino, the my time why we say you need 5? Because he says, "V'samlachu shnaim." You need to do the leaning on the animal which is 2 judges, plural. Zikne, again, the word plural is another 2. The betin shaku, and you can't have an even betin. Mosirin ladachai, you have to add another one. Harekan hamesh, therefore we have 5. So we see Rabbi Yehuda knows that you cannot have an odd one. So who says Rabbi Yoshia, who would hold like Rabbi Yehuda, seemingly by big bedin, maybe even by smaller bedin, maybe by smaller bedin you would need an odd number, and he has no one to rely on. No, Rabbi Yoshia would hold even more than Rabbi Yehuda. Maybe Rabbi Yehuda would only hold that you could only have an even number by the big bedin. But maybe regarding other bedin, he would need an odd number. Rabbi Yoshia says that even in the smaller bedins, you can have an even number. The Gemara says, okay, but the pasuk says, what does Rabbi Yoshia do with the pasuk? The teaches you have to go as a majority. Gemara says, no, he says, no, in cases of capital cases, you need odd, but in case of monetary, you don't. Okay. Mishnah says regarding money, 2 judges say you're patur, and 1 judge say you're chayav zakai, you're patur. If 2 judges say you're chayav and 1 say you're patur, chayav chayav. Name it like Rabbi Yoshia. Seemingly it goes against Rabbi Yoshia, who says that you could have it with 2 seemingly. No, maybe you would even agree. Rabbi Yoshia would agree over here that you need a majority for money cases. And where does he learn that you need? Where's his source that you need a majority on an odd number bedin for monetary cases? He learns it a kal v'chomer from capital cases. In the cases of capital cases, Hashem said you need to go majority. So for sure, monetary cases, which is less severe, you would also need it. And that's how Rabbi Yoshia knows that you can have an odd number even by 3 bedin.